Hey everyone. So what better time to talk all things vegan than following a delicious vegan meal? So I've just been to Pizza Express. They launched their vegan menu quite a while ago, I think. They've got various pizzas and pastas and stuff on there, as well as their famous dough balls, which are delicious, which they now do vegan. Yeah, so trying out something like that, like especially when it really doesn't taste any different. Like you can't, they're using vegan mozzarella, which is really the only difference. Like their base was vegan anyway. So if you're eating something where you really can't taste the difference, and you're getting a benefit for you, benefit for the planet, benefit for animals, it's and kind of a no-brainer really. I mean, obviously when you're doing veganism for moral reasons like me, like a lot of people do, then having something different or having to change your options is fine. Like obviously you're fine with that because you're making a statement and you're willing to learn new things and eat different, perhaps eat slightly different foods or look for alternatives. But the really good thing is that a lot of places now are doing the same thing but just vegan. So it really means that for everyone wanting to try it for any reason, but it means that you're just able to eat the same thing. So there's not even that kind of oh I love that and I can't eat it. No. If you're doing it for moral reasons, that isn't a problem because you know why you're doing it. And people say, is it difficult? But it's not difficult if your heart and then your choices and like your morals and everything align. It's a lot easier than doing something that doesn't align to what you believe in. But if you're doing it for health reasons or whatever your reason might be, trying to lose weight or wanting to think about the planet or anything like that, then obviously having it as easy as possible to find things that you normally do and not having to really go too much out of your way is really, really helpful. So I started talking the other day about the health benefits of veganism, and I just wanted to bring up one thing that I've so I get indigestion a lot. One thing that I've struggled with over the years and a difference that I see when eating vegan. So I often get indigestion. Actually, it's acid reflux. After having tests and things, I just have like the valve at the top of my stomach isn't really quite working right, which happens in a lot of people that have a heart problem, like a congenital heart problem, so they're born with that. Often there's a defect in like your stomach or somewhere as well as your heart. So I've got a hole in my heart, and so that was kind of part and parcel. But it means that I then have to kind of think about my diet, because getting acid reflux all the time is really bad for your esophagus. So the normal route, the sort of normal medical route, is to take antacids. So I'm really tired, so I'm having to really think about what I'm saying. It is to take antacids and PPIs, which basically reduce the amount of acid that you're producing. So okay, that's one thing, but often the problem isn't, for me, the problem isn't that I produce too much acid. It's just that the valve at the top of my stomach doesn't quite close completely. And so if I eat a big meal, something that will make me, my stomach inflamed or anything like that, it means that then the acid is coming back up. So you can have these things that reduce the acid, just so that it means that there's not as much acid, so it can reduce the symptoms. For me, they helped a little bit but caused other problems. But the side effect is that some of them can cause osteoporosis. So things like omeprazole, which I know so many people take daily. Being really young with this issue, it means that if I'm taking omeprazole for 50, 60, whatever, 70 years, obviously I'm going to live till over 100. It means that it can cause long-term problems in other ways. So I'm not really into taking medication if I can help it anyway, like things where there are other options. It's always good to look at, okay, what's causing this? What can I do in my life and my lifestyle that can help reduce it, rather than just kind of taking a tablet to cover over the problem like a plaster. So I was obviously vegetarian at the time when I found out about this problem, and I went for I have an endoscopy every 3 years, and I went for the one that I was supposed to have the other day because I was away last year, so I missed it. So I hadn't had it for a few years, but in that time, the only change is that I'd gone vegan. So obviously things like alcohol and caffeine and stuff can make any valve issue worse. So, but I was already kind of cutting those out to as much of a degree as, you know, I was finding comfortable. I don't drink very often at all. And tea, you know, I use decaf tea or I drink herbal teas, which is fine. So I went for this endoscopy, and the last time I had it, I had a really inflamed esophagus, so esophagitis it's called. Now, I'm like, this is a story that honestly does have a point. I'm not just telling you about my health issues because it's fine. It really doesn't affect me that much now as much as it did before. So I had this esophagitis like 3 years ago when I had my last endoscopy. And for anyone that doesn't know, an endoscopy is when they put a camera down your throat to look at your esophagus and your stomach. So my stomach was really inflamed. They said that especially the esophagus, so the acid was burning it. So they were recommending a surgery at the time. And to keep the story as short as possible, I didn't really want to have the surgery. It's quite invasive surgery, and I wanted to try and see if I could manage this with my diet. So I knew that dairy was one of the things that really can cause inflammation in the body. That's a fact. Like over 70% of people are lactose intolerant, and it is inflammatory. So that means that it's kind of like inflaming a lot of the tissues within your guts and things. So a lot of people, as I said before in a previous video, I used to get, if I ate a lot of cheese or chocolate or yogurt or something, I would get kind of phlegmy often the next morning or that day. So after going vegan, obviously not for those reasons, but for those reasons as well, for health reasons, I had my endoscopy the other day and there was no inflammation. And this guy was blown away. He did the last one and he said, I don't even need to take a biopsy, which is great. There's just no inflammation at all. What have you done? What differently? What tablets are you taking? I said, well, actually, I stopped the tablets. And about the same time I went vegan, and yeah, so the tablets that were supposed to be helping me, I came off them, and started cutting out any dairy out of my diet. I wasn't having a great deal, but the bit that I was having was inflaming things. And obviously there's a lot of other factors, and I'm sure there are other things that have played a part, but really that is the only thing that I've done consistently differently in my diet that would have had an impact. And he said that he'd actually had similar situations before where he's seen people that have changed their diet to a plant-based diet. They're not getting that kind of inflammation from those kind of foods. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you as one of the health benefits. So for anybody suffering with those kind of things, I mean, drop me a message, please. I know how much like indigestion and acid reflux and stuff can really kick your ass. It sounds like it's really something not that big of a deal, but imagine it after every meal you're getting like fire burn feeling in your chest, or you're getting acid come up, or you're sleeping and you're getting it and it can damage your teeth and damage your throat. Yeah, do message me. I would love to help. I also drink aloe vera every day, so that's another thing, but I've been doing that for a lot longer than that. So that is one of the benefits of being vegan, from the health benefit point of view. And this can also play a part in lots of diseases where there's inflammation to be kind of at the cause of the problem, because if you're ingesting something which is inflaming and it's encouraging and inducing that anti-inflammatory reaction in your body, that's happening all the time. That takes away from the anti-inflammatory kind of action that you want in other parts. So I've read about athletes and other people that have had like a knee issue or a shoulder issue, which is inflammation, and they've gone vegan and it's gone. So this stuff is really like solidly benefiting people. And that really ignites passion in me, because through teaching yoga and, everything and coming across people a lot, I see, and obviously being vegan, people talk to you about this stuff, and I'm interested in it. And I just think that if you can change your life So aside from the environmental and animal, you know, welfare benefits and all of that, and just for our our environment that we live in, aside from that, if you look at the health benefits, if something is going to benefit you and your children and your family just by making some changes from one type of protein pretty much to another, and substituting a couple of things for other things, which you will end up loving, like no one is born absolutely loving cow's milk or eggs, or, you know, these are all things that we learn in the same way that we switch it for an oat milk. Or, by the way, oat milk is definitely the way to go, in my opinion, for tea and coffee. And Oatly and Alpro do beautiful oat milks, but that's just a aside. But yeah, if you can just change those things and have a benefit on things that are kind of bothering you. I'm not talking about things preventing other problems, which I'll talk about in my next video, but things like that could be bothering you, that you could just make some simple changes and try, and it would help. You know, our food is our medicine, and I can't stress that much more. You know, you are what you eat, and by choosing unsaturated, kind of more plant-based proteins with less of the things that are inflaming or possibly producing problems in our guts, where you without a doubt will see the benefits. So if anybody is interested in trying to have a go, or wants some recipes, or wants any advice or anything like that, please do drop me a message. I'm obviously really passionate about this and would love to just help, you know, have these conversations, have these discussions, help you, just even if I can just give one person some advice, or they can try something that might help them and, you know, make everyone a bit happier, then I'll be a happy bunny. So thank you for listening. Don't forget to follow along on my blog, blondesusie.com, on my website. That is my website. On my Instagram, Blonde Susie, Facebook, my YouTube channel, Blonde Susie. And I will just mention as a quick one that our charity website is launching tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Like, I cannot tell you how excited I am about this, getting it out there, showing people what we're doing and how everybody can help. And yeah, it's all about being the change. And remember that power to be the change and change the world lies within each of us. We can all do it. Have a great evening.